Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to today's water cooler chat where we talk about all things Livepeer, whether it's delegating, orchestrating, gatewaying, broadcasting, AI, inference, transcoding, anything to do with the Livepeer network. We're here to ask questions and get answers. So we have an agenda ahead of us. We have a Q&A session with Karbon. Karbon is a developer relations engineer with Livepeer. Karbon, do you want to get us started off with our session and give us an introduction of who you are and what you do with Livepeer?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first off, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be on stage with so many amazing folks. My name's Karbon Dallas, synonymously Karbon Dallas. Go by many names throughout my time here on the internet. But as you mentioned, I work in developer relations. I have a background in software development. I've worked for tons of startups that you've probably never heard of, as well as bigger companies you probably have heard of, like Salesforce, Microsoft, Twitch, Discord. So I've come up from an open source software background, primarily involved in the Node.js community from kind of the early days, the 0.4 days, 2011. And then kind of really fell in love with Web3 or crypto and everything that this kind of cultural movement represents in around 2021, and kind of went all in on just learning and being present in the community around then. Spent some time doing DevRel for the SWE Foundation, and find myself here with all of you lovely folks. So that's a little bit about me. I'll pause there and happy to chat more. I'm not sure if you have specific questions, so I'll give you an opportunity to chime in.
Yeah, of course. Just to give us some context around Livepeer, when did you join Livepeer? How did you first hear about Livepeer?
Yeah, so I first, joined beginning of June, to kind of help focus on the developer experience as it relates to Livepeer AI. And I mean, honestly, I think I've been aware of Livepeer since almost its inception. Like, I played with some of the Livepeer Studio product many years ago, and heard about the opportunity to join the team through a friend of mine who also I've done some startup work with.
Very cool. So you've known about Livepeer for what is it, coming up 7 years? For a long time, you've kind of played around with it, and you saw a job posting and figured that that was a good fit, and you jumped aboard. Is that kind of the story?
Yeah. I've been doing some kind of just uh, working on some of my own projects, and some of the stuff that I've been working on for myself and some of my friends who are building a startup was kind of pretty closely aligned to some of the things that were being discussed in the job posting with Livepeer. So I was like, why don't I throw my hat and see if it's a good fit? And much to well, I'm not surprised, but much to my what's the word? I was very happy to realize that the team was awesome. Had some really interesting work being done. So yeah, I made a decision to come on board and see how I could leverage some of my existing experience with DevRel, and then more recent work in Web3.
Very cool. So your position with Livepeer is DevRel, developer relations. Kind of what are the goals of DevRel? What are you currently working on? What kind of avenue are you going down to reach developers and encourage them to adopt Livepeer?
Yeah, great question. So I mean, broadly speaking, DevRel, one of the things I like to say is like to borrow from Tron, right? Like I fight for the user. So anytime companies building a technical product, DevRel represents the needs of the users, both internally and externally. So it's kind of some of it from a very high level kind of looks like a combination of software development and maybe developer marketing. But also, I think equally as important is the more advocacy work, and that really revolves around maintaining healthy channels of communication between stakeholders, both internally and externally. So the community, the ecosystem, the people who are using the software and the products, as well as facilitating good communication between, for example, product teams internally. So it's a good bit, it's a good mix of things. It's one of the things that I really love about it, right? Is it's like, I love writing software, I love building things, but I also love going out and telling people about it and getting them excited about things. And so, to kind of in conclusion, the way I'd put DevRel from again from kind of a high level perspective is like these three core pillars. And I like to alliterate. So I call it community, code, and content. And that's kind of, the long and the short of DevRel from my perspective.
Sounds amazing. It's excellent. What is your DevRel past experience? What other protocols were you in?
Yeah, so I mean, protocol wise with Web3, I spent a little over a year doing DevRel for first Misted Labs and then the SWE Foundation. So I was, one of the folks responsible for helping form the foundation, get it in a good place to be, that kind of neutral party to steward of the protocol. And so helped kind of nucleate that off from Misted Labs, which is focused more on building on the chain. So that's kind of like, really the core of like my experience from like a protocol level doing DevRel. I did spend a tiny bit of time with Coinbase, but felt like Coinbase was not really the Web3 I was looking for, so to speak. And so, the vast majority, the bulk of my experience doing DevRel in an official capacity for for companies, really, I think it comes down from, I mean, gosh, all the way back to I think 2016 was when I first started doing DevRel for a developer board startup is called Particle. They do dev boards. Actually, recently just launched a cool Linux system. But anyway, that was like kind of my first experience of like what it's like to scale DevRel. What do you need to kind of go from 0 to 1? And that was so exhilarating for me, and it was kind of a light bulb moment for me because I realized like, oh, I've already been doing a lot of this work just on an individual capacity within the Node.js community. Like, I kind of did a whirlwind tour of like the conference circuit earlier in my career because I was so excited about building things with Arduinos and getting people excited about like programming the real world that I was just giving talks and like, giving out Arduinos and components and getting people started. And then, you know, ended up working, for Particle and realizing like, oh, this is actually a role. This isn't just something, I'm doing because I love it. I do love it, but it is actually an important role for technical community. So, I started there, I scaled, really learned what it's like to take DevRel to like an enterprise level at my time at Salesforce. And then of course, spent some time with Twitch, Discord, and Microsoft. And they all have a different perspective on what DevRel means, whether that's more evangelism heavy or whether that's more like kind of boots on the ground, real advocacy work. And so I've functioned across the board, and I mean I could ramble on forever, but there's it can mean so many things depending on the phase of growth that a company's at and kind of the developer personas that are present in the ecosystem.
Great, yeah. Thank you so much for explaining all that history. That's really cool perspective, and great to hear more about you. Now, your current position, you in a private message you sent me, you kind of said, I'm currently focused on work that relates to the AI subnet and its SDK. When you say that, are you working to get people onboarded to Livepeer Studio through like an AI product, or are you looking to help developers spin up a gateway node and build their own node in the ecosystem? Kind of what are you aligned with when it comes to developer relations?
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of all of the above. That we've been working with people primarily in the AI startup program. And I don't want to steal N's thunder there, so I'll let them speak more to that a little bit later about details and if there's just time for that. But like, I would say for the most part, like kind of in between, right? Like we have folks in the startup program that are interested. I think some of them are interested in contributing compute to the network and actually running their own node, whether out of interest in getting involved or a necessity for their use case. But really just right now because we're so early, I've been spending a lot of my time focused on just trying to understand how people are thinking about the product, what features are important to them, and kind of approaching it from a usability perspective. So Yeah, like we can go into more detail there, but like it's kind of, I would say, a little bit in between. Like I think what's interesting is that there is another developer persona coming about here, right? That might be interested more in just kind of like what they can build specific to their kind of AI use case. So they're kind of in between, right? They're not necessarily here because they're familiar with Studio and the products that Studio has already offered. And they're not necessarily here because they want to be involved on like an infrastructure level, but they're interested in what Livepeer AI is building. You know, the things that Rick and his team has been building. You know, really compelling to several different developer personas. So that's kind of what I'm focused on, really understanding right now and kind of figuring out like what their needs are and how we can best best inform the product decisions we're making with Livepeer.
Yeah, great. So technically speaking, like when you're dealing with the startup program, what interface, what SDKs are they using specifically? Like what node are they running the traffic through to get their responses? Is it like the Livepeer cloud team, or is it like an internal Livepeer Inc. gateway node? Like how are they interfacing to get the results from the network?
Yeah, so we're working with them to provide them with like gateway access and from our end. I think we have a couple startups that are working on putting together their own gateway as well. But for the most part, they're just connecting with with gateways that we've provided for their use case.
So Livepeer Inc. gateway nodes.
Correct. Yeah, live peering.
Livepeer. No, it's Livepeer Cloud. We're providing it
Yeah. So okay. So
for the
Livepeer.
startups.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah,
over.
the free to use gateway. They may be a private one as well, but I know, like you said, some of the startups
Oh, oh.
are
Mike's driving through a tunnel.
on
Oh,
their
Mike.
own.
no, but yeah. So we have like Dream Gateway dot Livepeer.cloud is
Be
one of
getting
them.
some.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
No worries.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is the startup program is using the Livepeer Cloud gateway node for their SDKs and inference that they can kind of use for free to get started and integrate to.
I think it's the SDKs and everything as they were implemented aren't really gateway specific, so they could point that SDK to any gateway and it would work. And I think there's a couple startup program members that are doing their own gateway, and they'll have like Livepeer Cloud Gateway as a backup, perhaps. You know what I mean? So just however they're going to find a way to make it work for their product, whatever they're trying to build, they're going to stitch that thing together. But using the free to use gateway is definitely something that a lot of them are doing.
All right, send them to the Titan Node gateway. I'd happy to accept some traffic. And
No doubt.
Give them some free inference. I'm down. It's all good.
Good to know. Yeah, we can definitely do that for sure.
Yeah,
that's one of the biggest requests, right? Is as we're scaling up like capacity, and some of the considerations that need to be made with regard to like the decentralized protocol. That is actually one of the most common feature requests is like, how do we handle kind of failover, maybe kind of like a round robin type of approach. So.
Okay, great. So the SDKs are basically just a scaffolding of how to integrate and build your app using Livepeer infra and to communicate with it. The actual endpoint, the gateway that it's getting the responses from, and it's just a parameter, and you can switch between the Livepeer Cloud Gateway or maybe a Livepeer Inc. gateway or Titan Nodes gateway or any other kind of provider,
or host your own,
or host your own.
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
Right. So is that kind of how it works, Karbon?
Yeah, that's correct. I think one of the things that Rick has expressed, something very important to him, and something I also feel is very important, is that building on a protocol level in such a way that avoids the lock-in that a lot of developers are concerned about. And so, we're still so early that there's only a handful of existing nodes that to choose from. But I think, it'll be interesting to see how that evolves. I have a lot of thoughts, and I digress a little bit here, but I think there's value in kind of talking a little bit more about like what that what that relationship looks like between, maybe like power user of AI versus like node operator. But I'm happy to throw the Titan node into the list of defaults as well.
No, don't. You probably, it's up there, but who knows how reliable it is. So, you know, anyway, I feel honored that you would even consider my node, but that's really cool. That's really cool. So,
well, you're the one that I'm staking with, so I'm biased here because when I first onboarded and I was going through the process of acquiring some LPT and staking and all that, I found value in your videos and I staked with you as well. So obviously I'm biased, but happy to add you to the list for sure.
Actually, I was gonna start up a gateway, how to set up your own gateway tutorial, like I did back in the day with how to set up an orchestrator tutorial. The only thing was I haven't. Does anyone know how to interact? I won't derail the conversation, but I just want to make sure I got to figure out a way to like fund or interact with a Docker gateway node using the CLI, because I'd like to fund it and interact with it, but I don't know how in a Docker container. So once I get that, then I might put out a tutorial that maybe you could hand off to your startup programs where, great, they're using the Livepeer cloud node, and it's a wonderful service. Here's a 10-minute video on how to set up your own gateway node, self-host it, self-fund it, and then change your endpoint over, right? I think that would be a...
Yeah, we put up instructions for that. I'll put a link in there. I'll put a link in for you.
I already beat you to it.
Oh, so yeah. So basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that instructions. I'm just gonna do a video version of it.
Save you a lot of time if you do that. Don't write the document if it's already written. But
No,
a video would be awesome.
This is perfect. No, I'm just gonna take what you did and just do a live demo of it. In my style that I do, and
that's good, man. Awesome.
That way, if people get stuck, they can watch Titans screw around on a computer.
See, this is where I admit my ignorance to the fact that Livepeer Cloud is kind of its own separate entity. So apologies for that, and I should learn a little more there.
Well, we have an interesting conundrum in the Livepeer ecosystem, which is like a lot of things are just named Livepeer, but they're like completely different things. So like Livepeer Inc. is a company based in New York. Livepeer Protocol is a decentralized, set of smart contracts on the chain. Livepeer Studio is the product that Livepeer Inc. provides. Livepeer Cloud is a separate entity funded by the on-chain Treasury that does other things. Like this.
Yes.
I could keep going. The Livepeer AI SPE, like that's a different entity in itself. I mean, Livepeer Innovators DAO was another entity. Like Livepeer, it means a lot of things to a lot of people, and it's too many slices, says N. So yeah, no, it's confusing but also cohesive at the same time. So it's good for branding because I think Livepeer, people hear about Livepeer more than like people associate, for a token that's as small as we are. It's good to have those associations because I know other protocols, it's like Pocket Network runs by the Groove app, Groove company. You wouldn't even know they're associated, right? So Livepeer does benefit from like some extended branding, but it is confusing because there's like quite a few different entities all with a similar name. So yeah. Well, welcome. If you have any questions around that, feel free to just ask in chat, and we will help explain it.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like that's definitely kind of the double-edged sword of really staying true to like the decentralized ethos, right? Not necessarily taking a traditional org structure and allowing that, as I've always called it, like kind of nucleation around like a core product protocol.
Yeah, I would say Livepeer has a strong, centered, decentralized core to it, which is like all the nodes are open source, all the smart contracts are published in open source. You know, it is very much an open and decentralized protocol, and then you just have different stakeholders around it that contribute. Whereas that can't be said for other projects, and I won't go around naming any, but yeah, it's, you know, it's like a, you know, decentralized. We're decentralized, but like you open up the hood and it's just a bunch of not decentralized stuff. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the last thing I'll say on this is that what you're saying here and kind of the research that I did was one of the things that really made me so excited to build with Livepeer is, like, you know, the realization that there really was, you know, a healthy ecosystem that actually was, you know, decentralized outside of, you know, the kind of, you know, current hype cycle, and it seemed like there was some, you know, real substantial work that had been done by many, you know, parties, so to speak. So anyway.
very good. Let's continue on, and then we'll open up for other questions. So please, if you have any questions, write them down now so you don't forget them. But yeah, one of my last questions here is going to be around the workshop for Encode Club. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So this is going to be, I think, you know, really exciting and interesting. You know, for me, it'll be kind of the first exercise that we do with the Livepeer AI as kind of more of, you know, open access. So, you know, we'll be putting together 2 workshops to kind of help people get started, and you know, one kind of, you know, go from 0 to 1, have the ability to you know, work with the Livepeer AI pipelines, get them a little more introduced to kind of what each one can do, and then you know, we're going to be doing a hackathon online. It'll be set up where we're going to have like 3 separate categories of applications that the builders can, you know, kind of build towards, and we'll have first, second, third place winner for each of those. And I'm excited. I think it'll be really valuable for us, not only for you know, just getting a chance to see, you know, how people are thinking about it, building it, getting feedback. I think it's probably one of the biggest things I'm excited about, is just getting more user feedback from a variety of developer personas. But additionally, I think I'm hopeful that we'll see some interesting applications come as well.
Excellent. That's very, very cool. Because Encode Club is a hackathon, kind of like a hackathon like a house, isn't it? Do you know what is Encode Club exactly?
Yeah, so I've actually worked a little bit with Encode Club previously, at my time at Swede. So they kind of do, you know, I guess loosely kind of sort of like hackathons as a service, right? Like they work with cohorts of individuals who are interested in building, and they kind of do like the vetting and the selection process and do a lot of the kind of production side of things. And so it's kind of like, you know, we bring the content and the, you know, things that we're hoping to get out of it, and then they're kind of sort of, in some ways, kind of like the production company that like runs the show, so to speak. But I don't know if and you're welcome to jump in if there's any other context, or if you want to plug the
I thought that was a great outline. Yeah, nothing to add there.
Excellent. I'd like to open it up now to the community for questions. Does anyone want to hop in and ask a question that they've thought of, or want to ask Karbon?
Don't be shy.
See, Shan is typing. Maybe she's got a question. If you are in the audience,
Shan's here.
You can always write it in chat, or you can just ask it. Chan just says, yeah, we've partnered with Encode Club in the past on Next Video, the first Web3 hackathon, Web3 video hackathon. Yeah, of course, yeah, that was a really cool hackathon that Livepeer sponsored. Awesome. Yeah, well, if I usually finish with 2 last questions, If no one else has got anything else they want to ask, the first question is kind of, what do you see the biggest challenge of onboarding developers into Web3 products such as Livepeer?
Ooh, yeah, that's such a big question. You know, I'll caveat this by saying that I think it really depends on the type of developer that you're trying to onboard. But in general, I think the biggest challenge is just, you know, not to sound too political, but like just helping shake loose the Web2 brain rot that comes from being an experienced developer with, you know, existing modes of building on these, you know, centralized providers. And I think just really helping developers understand what's possible from the ground up and how that may inform product decisions that they could make, you know, things they've never really thought about. And I know that's really a high level and kind of nebulous, but like that's one of the trends that I've been seeing, you know, particularly as someone who's come from a Web 2 background, you know, in traditional open source software, like web dev world. I think there's a lot of like foregone conclusions that need to be brought to the attention of you know, folks that have that existing context.
Very cool. Yeah, and usually I end with this question, and I ask it to many guests. And it's very open-ended, so you can answer it however you'd like. But the question is kind of, what does Web3 mean to you?
Ooh, yeah. Well, I think, you know, fundamentally, you know, the part of Web2 that's really important to me is the undoing of that like inversion of the power structure of, you know, traditional Web2, like giving back ownership. You know, I hate to use a bunch of buzzwords, but like, you know, sovereignty of the user and their data. Yeah, I think that's a really key one. You know, unlocking access to systems that have previously been, you know, gate kept, you know, for, you know, the few, the elite. So like those I think are like some of the big key aspects, at least in terms of what Web3 means to me, right? It's like, you know, allowing people to you know, get involved in building value and giving people the opportunity to benefit economically from the value they're contributing as a core component to what you're building, I think is how I would probably put it.
Very cool. Right on. I'll lastly, one last time, open up for questions. Anyone want to chime in? Have any questions for Karbon?
Yes, you in back. You had a question. See, that doesn't work when it's not like a physical stage. Sorry, that's usually when I get no questions. I'll just pretend someone in the back had a question,
Yes.
and it'll like pressure someone to speak up. But that doesn't work here. Sorry.
Very good tactic. Yeah, I do it every once in a while when Brad is in the audience. Is he here? There he is. Anyway, yeah, I would say either way, I tend to ask a lot of questions because I'm very curious, and it becomes you know, just you know, it's just I tend to explore as much as I can, and then keep the conversation going. So, Karbon, thank you so much for your time and joining us and doing a Q&A session. We really appreciate you being here, and really want to welcome you to the community, to the openness of the ecosystem, and if you have any questions in the future, feel free to hop in to any one of these water coolers. We do them every Monday, or you hop into chat and general chat. You can ask more questions from us if you need help, and also for operators and developers. It's great to know that you're a great resource that we can send developers to get guidance on those SDKs and you know, adopting Livepeer. I think focusing on demand side generation is very important to us, and we want to be able to help you whenever you need.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for the warm welcome, and it was a great interview. And I think the last thing I'll say, just like if I can plug something, is yeah, like please come to me. You know, I'm super open. I'm an open book about my previous experience. I'm happy to help, you know, leverage that experience in any way. And I'd also love your feedback. So, you know, don't hold back. I'd love to hear any of your input, whether that's good, bad, ugly. And the last thing I'll say is I'm also a trained peer mediator. So if there's ever any conflict resolution that I can help with, I consider me a resource. I'd love to help. So anyway, thanks again. It's been a blast. I'll stick around for the rest of the water cooler if that's all right.
Very cool. Alrighty. Let's continue on with the rest of the topics. We've got everything from the Livepeer Pioneers Treasury a proposal, the AI subnet upgrade, the traffic increase, SPE feedback type form, and some ticketing errors. So let's get us kicked off with a couple of topics around the Treasury proposal. I know that I think next is it this Wednesday or next Wednesday we'll have a Treasury call. So I just want to quickly note that the Treasury proposal is live, or it's in its warm-up phase. I think it's not. I don't think we can vote on it just yet. But it has been proposed by the Live Pioneers team, and they are using the Livepeer or the streaming contract that was created. So they're going to be streaming the payments over 9 months, which is really cool. So that'll be the second user of the streaming contract. And I got some ideas around maybe putting up a little demo for maybe having the streaming contract built into the Explorer, so we can kind of use it. I don't know. We'll have to see, get some feedback on that. But yeah, Live Pioneers, the Treasury proposal is there. Take a good look, and we'll have a discussion about it when the Treasury call comes. So just a quick update on that. N also posted feedback on SPE forum. So there's Rick put forward a typeform questionnaire for people to fill in, and it's questions around the Treasury SPEs, and in just kind of trying to gather feedback on how to more encourage them. So yeah, I see N posted a link there. Please click it, fill in the type form. It took me like a minute to fill it in, so I think it would be really helpful for the ecosystem team to get some feedback. So
yeah, it was by Rich, by the way.
Oh, did I say Rick? I meant Rich.
Yeah, we are this terrible
Rich.
duo.
Yeah, there's only one letter change, so it's very hard to keep that in mind.
Trust me, meetings are a nightmare for me.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, great. Let's continue on to the Rick, you're up. And Mike, the AI subnet upgrade. So let's jump into the upgrade that's happened. It looks like we've merged something into something. So tell us a little bit of what happened.
Yeah, Mike, can I start with the features in there, and then you can do the gateway side? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. I mean, take care of all of what you need to, man.
Great. Yeah, so just to give you an update about this new release. So this is one of the 3 releases, as I already stated, that will be coming in this month. So the first release was the Whisper pipeline there with some other bug fixes. Then this release will be the rebase. So this release really ensure that our AI subnet software is in sync with the transcoding side, and we want to keep it that way. So I will be doing this merge pull request every week or every 2 weeks, and that brings the orchestrators mostly 2 important features. It's for gateways. It's to filter by minimum version. So if the cloud gateway, for example, decides that the version is not compatible anymore, they don't want to support it, then if they set a version filter, orchestrator will not be selected. Of course, this will be only needed if there are some really big changes. And the other feature that's really nice that was also on the transcoding side is really the US dollar pegging, so that you can price your orchestrator's pricing and also your gateway pricing US dollar. Still, there is some logs that needs to be updated to show also US dollar there, but it's also on the transcoding side, but that already gives that feature. Apart from that, there are some other features in there. But the biggest one that we John has been working hard together with Josh to fix some issues in the Whisper pipeline. So now it supports multiple formats. There is also, if I remember it correctly, the Flux model is now supported on the Livepeer network. I still need to do this release notes, so there is a lot in there. So let me quickly double check if I'm forgetting something. I think that are the biggest changes, but otherwise I will make a release note again also, and that will note everything that's in there. And the biggest importance here is that because the minimum version that's also on the Transcoding side, it adds a new message message property in this RPC call. It will be breaking, so you will not be able to receive jobs from gateways that run the newest software. I think from my end that was everything. So the only important thing was that we really thanks a lot from Cloud to coordinate it with us, so that we ensured there was no network downtime during the transition.
And I guess just from my, from the Livepeer Cloud SPE perspective is that, our gateway is going to keep up with the AI SPE team. So as they release, we will release updates as well. And I think where backwards compatibility is preserved, we'll leave it, with the prior release version. But for all orchestrators running on the AI subnet today, you want to download the latest updates because the minimum versions is 0.76 AI1. So that's what the gateway is running at now for Livepeer Cloud in all regions. And if you're not set at that, you won't be getting any of the work. So definitely as, the startup program kicks off and we start doing more of our AI job testing with our upcoming proposal, there will definitely be work on the network. So make sure you keep up.
All right. Sorry, I had to step away for a sec. Just, I'm back now.
No, it's fine. I just wanted to remind all orgs to update their software and, keep it up to date because the Livepeer Cloud's going to be seeing a lot more work in the short term. So definitely keep your AI models warm.
Do we have a recommendation on what AI models we should be running right now?
So yeah, there is the recommended models in the documentation, but also we have the cloud dashboard that is provided by the cloud gateway where you can see how many requests really come in for each model. And also we had the bounty out for like a better dashboard on the gateway and orchestrator side, and Marco just dropped it in the chat. So that's extremely exciting. So people can now better track their both their orchestrator and their gateway metrics. So shout out to Marco for doing that, as always.
Very cool. I would say, so is this dashboard in this PR? This dashboard AI metrics. Oh, I see. Here we are.
Yeah, you can already test it out because it's a Grafana G, if I'm correct. But I will also merge it into this new repository. What will be like how do you call it? This place to collect other dashboards that people have made for the Livepeer network.
Right. Yeah. So, because I'm thinking, the audio, like the like a less used model is something that I would put my 3090 on. Like, maybe I don't know how many people are doing audio to text or anything, but I wouldn't mind putting mine on like a less used model just so that it's available for people to use, and then let the maybe like the 4090s deal with the heavy lifting on some of the faster inference. So something like that.
Yeah, that's a really good tactic. Also, we're looking still at cold loading. So John has been looking at that to really improve that because there has been some cases where there was some timeout hit so that the dynamic loading didn't work. So if we solve that, also people can start cold loading models to really still serve a request when the other orchestrators that have it warm are already occupied. I see that Cloud Mike just shared the dashboard that you can look at for the current request on their gateway. I think that gives a really good sense of which models are often currently most used.
Very cool. All right. Very good. Any other questions or comments around the AI subnet?
Related to audio to text, we are working on some optimizations to lower the memory usage and to enable some new models with Whisper. So look for that in, I think, the next AI release. And that would allow you to run that on some some lower memory GPUs, as you were saying.
Great. Yeah, if I could also contribute, I don't know if I can, let's see, the Titan node, the Titan orchestra, the Titan gateway, I think the port is open. Maybe I can allow people to scrape it to add some metrics to global usage. But yeah, very cool. Let's continue on. The next topic was around the traffic increase and some ticket errors. So, Vires, do you want to? You brought it up first. Do you want to talk to us about what you've been seeing with the traffic increase and yeah, your topic?
Sure. Yeah. So let me just get the dashboard up. Well, basically, like I think it started around 7 days ago or so, when we first saw some huge spikes in traffic that took a few orchestrators down, mine included. And probably like a day after, we just saw like the traffic basically doubling, I would say, or close to doubling. I'm talking about the EU right now, by the way. So for the US, unfortunately, we haven't seen a significant increase yet, or at least I haven't seen it. Yeah, maybe just like asking around if anybody knows if this is related to the new client onboarding, if it's maybe a totally new client, if it's gonna stay, if it's gonna increase, if that is what we can expect for it to be at for the moment, or if it's still gonna increase.
In chat.
Well, I can confirm that I've seen a significant increase in EU traffic over the last 7 days. I mean, as you pointed out, folks had some outages, and I had 2 GPUs at the time, and with the recent increases, it looks like I'm up to 4 now in the EU. So definitely doing some expansion. I know Hunter's in there typing. Maybe he can have more to add. I don't know if anyone else does, but I've seen it.
Yeah, like
yeah, same here. I have a lot of streams these whole days.
It definitely went up. I mean, for me, it peaked at 10x. So and then it's kind of settled around 3 to 4x, the normal streams. So it's got yeah, it's something happened. Definitely happened. And then I think Varies going down was maybe the 10x spike for me. I think we were picking up some extra traffic when some orcs go down, but otherwise, yeah, quite interesting. John, you mentioned some ticketing errors. Do you want to comment on that as well? Did that happen during the increase in traffic?
Yeah, I'm just looking at my, I've got a payment error rate metric on Grafana, and at least in my case, since around the 13th, I've seen it just increases go up with the ticket errors. It looked like they're all pretty standard. The nonce already seen sender ticket error that's really common. But I wasn't sure if that, because I think Vires mentioned in the chat the other day that like it seems like the ticket value, the amount of tickets we're getting is not really going up in proportion to the amount of work that's coming in. And so I thought that might be related to these payment errors. I'm not really sure what causes that kind of error. I can give the full logs if needed, but here's an example of one.
Error receiving ticket. And so invalid ticket already seen. Wasn't that an issue because of the wasn't that an issue from the amount of tickets being, was it the ticket EV where you'd end up getting like 50 tickets for one segment and then it would like blow up and then reuse the same nonce or something like that?
Yeah, I remember seeing this back then too. The default in Go Livepeer has been set to, like, there was a time when we needed to set that flag, but that's been applied as a default and has been working for everyone, right? I think I remember that I removed that flag a number of weeks back. I don't think it correlates with this, but
I think it might. If you're getting, I mean, I don't know, to be honest, but there's definitely an issue using the default. Papa Bear, do you remember that? I'm just looking at my config now. I thought there was something about, wasn't it like 30 GUI or 50 GUI? And if you were at a certain price, you get errors. I'm trying to pull my stuff up.
Yeah, no, 50 is the current default amount, and I still recommend it, and it should work for.
But do you need to specify that as a flag, or is that just by default that way? I thought, I'm gonna paste in the chat.
I've had it specified. Yeah, I've had it specified for so long. I've just left it.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't
maybe
know
that's
if you look
something.
at that. I don't think that's the default.
I see that the default in Go Livepeer looks, well, I'm in the branch.
Yeah.
It
You know what?
like it's that.
John just posted it, but yeah, I do remember it being 8 at one point, and I guess it never got updated. But 8 is too low if that's what you're running, John. I kind of missed part of that conversation, but 8 can cause that.
Yeah, we should really
I think
update
it's a limit
that.
of, I forget how many tickets. Yeah, because if you get more than X amount of tickets, that will cause the invalid nonce error.
Okay. I see this was last updated November 2023 in the source code. I'm on the AI video branch. I'm going to switch over, but we've just recently synced that up, so I think this is accurate. So I'll put the flag back in, and then I could push a PR to get that default and Go Livepeer updated to what it should be. Don't see any issues with that. Yeah, thanks for the info on that. I looked at it because I was working on a similar issue, and I looked at the source of Go Livepeer, and I was thinking for some reason it was updated. We didn't need it, so that's probably an issue.
I thought
on
it was
my
updated
end.
too. So yeah, I'm glad you looked. No, I'm glad you looked that up because I thought it had been updated.
Yeah, I've been running that flag for so long. I just didn't know what the default was anymore. But I know at one point we tested the default, and it was definitely breaking things.
So Vires has got that long 45 number. Is that what everyone else is running, or they're running 50?
I'm just a single digit under 50 is what I'm running. I don't know what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, I know 50 works. There was a time where whatever the max you could run, it needed to be like one under that. So I run the same as Mike does, the 49999, but 50 does work. I've seen people that run 50 and it works.
And apparently 45 works. His number is the same number of digits. He's just using 45 and we're using 50. So 49 works apparently for Vires.
Great.
This is
Yeah.
mine. That's what I'm using.
Yeah, I think that's what I had before. Yeah, this could help the overall like Livepeer network value. I think ticket revenue. Like maybe there are a few orchestrators out there that haven't got the memo and are missing out on tickets or something. So, and it's kind of what I've seen. Tickets are roughly what they were, even though the stream count has gone up a lot. And it looks like I changed that flag around the same time. So yeah, thanks for the info, and I'll push a PR for this. You can review it.
There you go.
Josh says, "Wow, you're super fast. The release isn't even quite out." It says,
I posted too, and I was waiting for I went to see was it out yet, but it wasn't. I didn't see the official release in the GitHub, but I saw
That's the alpha release right there.
as alpha as it gets. So this release, is that
I was
changing?
I was looking to see
TKDB?
what notes. I was looking to see what some notes. I went, no, this was before that was mentioned.
Oh, right. Cool. All right. Any other topics around the AI subnet or TicketEV? Or I guess, well, ticket errors. Right on, right on. All right, let's continue on. What are our other topics? And it looks like that's all of them, actually. Yeah, AI subnet upgrade, traffic increase, SPE feedback on typeform. Please go to the governance channel there and fill in the typeform for the questionnaire. It'd be really helpful. And the Treasury proposal, but we'll cover that on Wednesday during the talk. And I think that covers everything.
Yeah, I don't know if I can just say, I wanted just to thank you, Titan, for all the help for submitting our proposal, for your support, because we are using the payment stream contracts. Also thanks to Pon for helping. So I mean, it took a while. So also we are going we want us like pioneers to create also a guide, so for helping maybe others. I mean, you were also mentioning this before, but maybe to share also our experience in submitting this proposal. But wanted just to say just a quick thank you for your help. I mean, helping on Saturday, Sunday, every time, it's really very much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just happy that you're willing to use the contract and put time into deploying it. You deployed it, so it was really, or maybe you deployed it, so it was really cool to see. Because for Fantisi, I deployed it for them, just because by the time I explain it, it's easier just for me to do it. But it looked like you actually followed the instructions. You deployed it correctly.
Yeah, the instruction from the forum. So I mean, probably it was adding some complexity because we also used a split contract. So because this Treasury proposal is about funding retroactively some work done, because we have already this translator doing translation, supporting also the other communities for other languages. So we wanted also to reward these people that they are working for free for us since July. So we added on top the split contract. So probably this added a little complexity, but I mean, probably it just was the first time we were using. So probably, as always, when you start something new, and it takes some time. We just burn some LPT, but it's okay. Maybe we reduce the inflation. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad. Yeah, you deployed the contract correctly, and then you added the split contract in front of it, which again adds more complexity. But I think you've got a working thing going on, and I hope in the future we can streamline it, make it easier for people to create these type of contracts with the Treasury. So that's excellent. So thank you for using it and giving me feedback, and good luck to your Treasury proposal.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Is that live now, or is it going live?
it'll be live next round, I think.
Yeah, I think on
In
It's in the proposed
tomorrow.
state.
Yeah.
It's in the proposed state.
yeah, so it's pending. You can see it all there. I did go to the contract and verify that the guardians are in fact the guardians on the contract. I verified that the time is correct, so it's a 9-month contract. I verified the amount is correct, that it's this 5,040 LPT they're requesting. Yeah, so it was deployed correctly, so that's awesome. Cool. Okay, well, with that being said, any last comments or questions before we sign off?
You forgot to call Brad on stage, like you always do.
Oh yeah, Brad, get up here. We have to say hi. Let's see if we can do it. So Brad, what were you saying again? You were saying how amazing it is to be in the Livepeer community? See if he comes up. He's too busy. Okay. Are we really gonna let this one go? This is gonna be the one where he doesn't come up and say hi. Brad, I've got more to put on your plate. Come up here.
I just wanted to mention, make sure you fill out that form, please. There's 2 sections. One is the just not multiple choice, like 1 out of 10, and there's longer form answers. But if you can just do the few that are 1 out of 10, that's a super huge help. And if you have the time, write a few sentences for those long answer questions. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Well, with that being said, thank you so much for everyone coming to today's water cooler chat, trying to make Livepeer the open and decentralized video infrastructure of the world. I appreciate your time and being here. We will see you all next week. Cheers.
Bye.
Have a nice week.
Everyone.
Bye.
Cheers, y'all.
Bye.